Hi, it's me, Camila Rose. I'm gonna finish up this last video for the day. We're gonna talk about what am I currently reading. My last previous video, I did what I finished, the books I finished, or at least the ones recently that I remember that I finished. And now we're gonna talk about what I've been reading. And I'm just gonna go through my pile. Now, you can tell what I've been working on because it'll have a bookmark. I read, how far did I get? I haven't even gotten into the story, but this is on my list. My Grandmother's Hands, Racialized Trauma and the Pathway to Mending Our Hearts and Bodies by Resmaa, Menakem, MSW, LICSW, and SEP. SEP, I don't know what that means. I'm excited to read this. I have The Body Keeps the Score, but I've read about the issues related to that text and the individual who wrote it. So I read probably about half of it and then never completed it. I will probably complete it at some time. I do know that it is very academic and research focused heavy. But that doesn't bother me. I just will give myself some time to actually read it just so I can have the information, and then we'll probably just set it aside. But I've heard that it's alternatives, as I was looking for embodiment work and somatic work, the connection between the experiences that we've had, trauma and things of that nature, the experiences that we continue to have, and how our body responds to that, how our body responds to our environment, how our body continues to respond to us as the vehicle which carries us through life and which houses our soul and our mind and all of our consciousness. So I've been reading up on that because it's a lot of the work that I do, and I know I need to get this one down so that I can have that perspective that includes cultural sensitivity and awareness. So I'm excited to get into this one, but it's a little heavy and I needed something that was not quite so heavy. I am still reading through Fledgling. They have finished Fledgling in the book club, but I'm still reading through it because I don't know, I'm not real big on the vampires thing, which is interesting because I have all of a lot of the Black vampire books. You would think I would be more into it, right? And I know vampires are kind of a hot topic right now. I don't know. I read the Anne Rice books when I was young. I just kind of haven't been into it. So this one was fine. I'm still reading through it. I know how it ends. I've read this before. So I was just reading through it again with them to get kind of a refresher, but to just give a quick synopsis, we meet Shori, who, when we meet her, she has no memory of what's happened. She's in a small enclave with houses, and there's no other people there. Everything's been burned down. She is lying in a cave. She feels terrible and like she is burned up and that she is falling apart, and she worries that she will not be able to survive. Although she can tell that she is healing, she begins to hunt so she can get some food, and then eventually we begin to understand that she is a vampire, and she comes across this individual. I believe his name is Will Wright. There we go. His name is Wright. She meets a man named Wright, and he picks her up and he tries to help her, but then she's like, don't take me to the hospital. She bites him, gets some blood from him, and then we start to learn how this world of vampires works according to Octavia Butler. Thing about Shori is that Shori appears to be about 9 to 11 years old. So we also get the complication of age and appearance and being a young Black woman and being not having a memory, and how does that impact us? Power dynamics, race, gender, sex, class, all the good stuff. So it is a fascinating read because although she has the appearance of someone who is very young, she is around 52 years old. So and she is a vampire, and so she lives under a completely different society, and there are rules, but they are of course housed within American society. So we get that conflict as well. It's a great book. You should totally check it out if you're interested in it. Then I'm trying to, y'all, I swear I'm trying to read this book. It's called The Honey Witch. I have had it since probably the beginning of the year, and I am really struggling to read this. One, I thought it was going to be about this woman who gets with this man, but then I was like, oh, I think it's about lesbians, so I'm actually a little bit more interested in it. but I'm still struggling to read through this book. I've had so many recommendations. I do think it's super cute. I am actually excited to read this. I just have to, I don't know. I have a blockage, I have a resistance, and I don't know why. I have enjoyed what I have read. It's just been hard for me to keep picking it up. And what I actually end up picking up, well, you've seen some of the books I finished, and like my little Kindle Unlimited, I'll just read that instead. So we're working on this. This will be done by the end of the year. I bought this book, I believe, also towards the beginning of the year. It's called Hecate by Goddess of the Witches by Courtney Weber. And this one is more about the legend, the myths, like things you can do related to Hecate. I don't work with Hecate, but I meet so many people and so many people talk about it that I want to have some type of more in-depth background in history and understanding of Hecate. It's all I really know is that she is goddess of the witches over the crossroads. She has the dogs. She saw that Persephone was snatched into the underworld, or that she went into the underworld, depending on which version of the myth you're working with. I'm going to read this so that I can have this background. This will get read by the end of the year, I believe. But honestly, it's really not that high on my list. I do want to read this one. It's called Monster Theory, and this is a collection of essays and about monster theory and just how monster theory impacts our world and art and literature. Let me read the back. We live in a time of monsters. Monsters provide a key to understanding the culture that spawned them. So argue the essays in this wide-ranging and fascinating collection that asks the question, what happens when critical theorists take the study of monsters seriously as a means of examining our culture? In viewing the monstrous body as a metaphor for the cultural body, the contributors to monster theory consider beasts, demons, freaks, and fiends as symbolic expressions of cultural unease that pervade a society and shape its collective behavior. Through a historical sampling of monsters, these essays argue that our fascination for the monstrous testifies to our continued desire to explore difference and prohibit. I think this is fascinating because if you do not know, I do a lot of work with monster-related content and literature, because of my interest in astrology and in womanism and in theoretical perspectives. And so I like to work with the Beauty and the Beast story, the fairy tale, and then the Beauty and the Beast myth that it was based on, which is Psyche and Eros, and then how that plays into the idea of monsters and beasts and things of that nature. And then I've also been interested in, because of the astrology with like Venus and Mars, monsters and monster theories, and then like who becomes othered, how they become monsters, how we view the body and the physical as the monster or as the other, what that says about us culturally, how that changes over time, how the stories change over time, which is why I also like working with Beauty and the Beast, because you see the transition of how Belle or how Beauty and the monster are described and explored and explained across time. And if you do use that as a vehicle to begin to explore how our culture looks at the self and the other and our roles in society and expectations, you really do get like a fascinating snapshot of time and place and the people. So this has been something I think I read through a couple of the different essays, but I'd like to finish all of them. So it gets into like monster culture, monster theory, what the theory is, and then it applies it. So it talks about just a couple of different types of monsters. Let me see who I can see. It talks about Beowulf, Shelley disfigured, so this must be Frankenstein. Oh, that's interesting. Tom Thumb. And vampires, aliens, dinosaurs. Fascinating, right? Okay, I think it's interesting, so I'm gonna read through this. Tarot and the Archetypal Journey, the Jungian Path from Darkness to Light. I have, if you look through this, you'll see I've marked it all up. So this book takes an exploration of the journey through the major arcana from a Jungian perspective. And so I've read through, I just pick the card I wanna read, and then I read through it. I don't know, I feel like I need to read it again. So, and it's just something I think I want to read often, just so I can take in the perspective. My second one is Tarot and Individuation, a Jungian study of correspondences with Kabbalah, alchemy, and the chakras by Irene Gadd. Now you want to talk about, this one is really not that bad. This one is pretty okay. This one, and my battery's about to die, so we're going to try to speed through this. This one, woo, a moment, okay? But it is great, and it has the Kabbalah and the Tree of Life and the connection between the tarot, so it's a fun one to read. These are my books. This is what I'm reading. The only other one I had was On Grief and Grieving, rereading through this, just so that I can have that background for some of the projects that I'm doing. So yeah, some fun stuff, some serious stuff, some work stuff. These are my TBR. This is the books that I'm going to get through for the rest of the year. And if I find anything else that I'm going to add to my pile, I'll let y'all know. And as I finish these books, I will share my thoughts about them. So let me know which ones you're interested in, if you were interested in any of them, if you think they're all boring. If you read some of them, what are your thoughts on them? And what are you reading? All right, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all later. Like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.